Every story rests on its main character, how they grow, the choices they make, the values they carry, and how that shapes the entire narrative. That's the weight of the main character. Today I'll be comparing identity versus motivation in character arcs, and right now, Eleven's story in Stranger Things is at risk.
Water.
Okay, this intro's been overplayed to hell already. Let's just get straight into it. Stop it! I said stop it! I'll get to you later. So at the time of this recording, Stranger Things Season 5 will be coming out in less than a month. It's the biggest show in the world right now and people are so hyped about it, myself included. But here's the thing, I'm worried. Stranger Things could become a beloved classic like Avatar or Breaking Bad. Or it could collapse into nothing as Game of Thrones did. But how? A big part of what makes a story succeed is in its characters, especially the main character. To analyze this, I'm comparing their identity, who a character is and who they become, versus their motivation, what drives their decisions. Researchers in entertainment psychology talk about this in terms of hedonic and eudaimonic entertainment. Some stories are just fun, hype, exciting. That's called hedonic entertainment. Other stories give us something deeper. Purpose, meaning, growth. That's called eudaimonic entertainment. A satisfying end combines both. It's thrilling, but also feels earned because the character's identity and motivations converge. And that's exactly what makes me worried about Stranger Things. If Eleven's identity and motivations don't line up in the finale, the story might feel thrilling on the surface, but hollow underneath. But before we get to her, let's step back and look at a few case studies. Some shows that handled their main characters brilliantly, and some that didn't. And before we get started, I feel obliged to officially put in the spoiler alert in this video. Okay? We're good? Let's go. I watched Avatar religiously when I was a kid. It was my favorite show back then, and it's my favorite show now. And it still holds up. I swear I've rewatched Avatar so many times I can name all the episodes in order from memory. But that's besides the point. Avatar holds up to this day because of how it doesn't treat their core audience as children. It understands that children can appreciate adult themes while managing to tell a compelling story across 3 seasons. And one of the stories is how Aang got from a goofy 12-year-old kid to a fully realized Avatar. I mean, that's what the entire show was building towards. But what about his values and motivations? He refuses to kill, it's a part of who he is. A part of the air nomad teachings. Aang said it himself, all life is sacred. So what about the finale? Aang chose mercy over killing Ozai at the end of the war. Throughout the show, we see Aang grow into this fully realized Avatar while maintaining his value of not killing. It feels earned. This is what it looks like when identity and motivations align. I grew up in the mid-2000s, and just like everybody else in my age, I had a Disney Channel phase, and a Cartoon Network phase, and a Nickelodeon phase, all pretty typical for a kid at that time. But everything changed when I first started watching shows that were aimed for adults. Breaking Bad was the first real grown-up TV show that I watched, and man, it set the bar high. Really high. As in, the bar is still up there. It's considered to many as the best Western TV show ever created. And for good reason. Its story's compelling, the acting's incredible, and the characters are just so good. Especially Walt's. Vince Gilligan famously once said that his goal was to turn Mr. Chips into Scarface. And boy did he really make that happen. Walt starts out as this weak, passive chemistry teacher dying of cancer. But over the course of the show, this passive 50-year-old man going through a midlife crisis turns into this ruthless drug lord, taking absolute control over his life. But what's his motivation? His family? His money? For the joys of cooking meth? Well, if you watch the show, you'll know that
I did it for me.
You finally admitted it, Walt. Finally! Oh my god, it took so much. By the end, every choice he makes pushes him deeper into darkness. Walter White is gone, and Heisenberg has fully taken over. Although you can argue that Heisenberg was there the whole time, but that's a topic for another video. That shift from passive pushover to a man who demands control at any cost is what makes Breaking Bad one of the greatest TV shows ever made. Game of Thrones used to be the biggest TV show in the world. I mean, it was everywhere. I remember going to these watch parties, discussing it with my friends in university. and we all loved it so much that we watched season 8 live in bars when it was coming out. Oh, what a time that was. What a time to be disappointed. One poorly executed finale has left this legacy that honestly won't ever go away. There were so many things that went wrong in the final seasons. If you look it up, you're gonna see countless video essays on what exactly went wrong. After you watch this video, of course. But what I wanted to talk about specifically was Daenerys and her Mad Queen arc, because where did that come from? Dany's character was always going to go from a liberator, the breaker of chains, to the Mad Queen. And her motivation? Getting the Iron Throne. Very simple. She was always going to become the Mad Queen. That wasn't the problem. The problem was that it wasn't earned. The show didn't give enough time to watch her change into the Mad Queen. Her liberator and breaker of chains identity more or less stayed pretty consistent in the later seasons until suddenly, oh what, she's crazy now? We never got to experience her descent, and Game of Thrones robbed us of that setup that made its earlier seasons so good. So when she burns King's Landing, it just feels random. Now imagine if this played out differently. What if she faced moral dilemmas over multiple seasons? What if every city she conquered tested her identity and motivation, forcing her to make small compromises? And what if it took 3 seasons instead of 3 episodes? By the finale, burning King's Landing would have felt tragic, inevitable, and earned. Maybe if something like this happened, we'd remember Game of Thrones more amicably than we do right now. But I'm not a writer. And apparently neither is George R.R. Martin for taking over 10 years to write The Winds of Winter. I mean, come on, we've been waiting for... You know what else took almost 10 years to finish? Stranger Things. Isn't that crazy? I really like Stranger Things. It's such an enjoyable show, and the first season is one of my absolute favorite seasons of television to date. What made the show so good wasn't just that supernatural mystery or the 1980s vibe. It was watching relatable and lovable characters, gripping stories, and moments of genuine heart, making it fun, exciting, and emotionally engaging all at once. Stranger Things has mostly delivered hedonic entertainment, but it's always hinted at eudaimonic moments, especially through Eleven. Her moral choices, acts of loyalty, and willingness to sacrifice herself over others show that Stranger Things can give us meaning and emotional growth. Season 5 is the moment where all of that potential can either pay off or fall flat. And that's why Eleven is so crucial. Her identity is evolving from a lab experiment into a compassionate, independent young woman who deeply cares about her friends and the people around her. Her motivation seems to be loyalty and doing what's right, even at a personal cost. I mean, look at the ending of season 1 and that cliffhanger that the show left us at for a year. The big question is, will her identity and her motivations converge in season 5? Will she make a heroic sacrifice, survive to grow into a new phase of life, or face moral dilemmas that finally give the story real eudaimonic weight? I really hope the final season of Stranger Things delivers a payoff as satisfying as Avatar or Breaking Bad. I guess only time will tell if it lives up to the hype. Because right now, I just don't know. If Eleven's identity and motivations converge naturally, it could be amazing. If not, well, we've seen what happens when a story ignores this, like Game of Thrones. Ultimately, it's a reminder that the heart of any great story lies in how its characters grow and make choices that feel earned. Because at the end of the day, a story only sticks when its characters' hearts and choices line up. And that's what makes it unforgettable.